Hey y'all, happy child. It's Wednesday. I was going to say happy Tuesday. That was yesterday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go Podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. I just want to take the time out to just thank y'all for y'all support. From people who've been there from the beginning to the middle, any new subscribers, thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. I don't take y'all for granted. I know some of y'all might be like, oh, Taria, we've heard this before. I don't care because I want y'all to always know I appreciate y'all and the community that we are building together. I really do. And I miss y'all. Y'all know that when I haven't talked to y'all. So I'm going to get on here, do this quick video, and then I'm going to do my Potomac review. Y'all say a prayer. Jesus be a Red Bull. I already had one today. Jesus be another pink Red Bull because I need to finish up my notes for Salt Lake City and then watch and take notes on Married to Medicine before Beverly Hills tomorrow. I need to come in fresh. So there's a couple things that I want to get into. First off, I know y'all saw it. Some of y'all may have seen me on Kempire's IG Live. He also has it on his YouTube page. Shout out to Kempire. We talked so many different things. Yesterday, we talked a little bit of RHOP. We talked the Wendy of it all, the Kandi and Todd of it all of that. But I just wanted to real quick say, y'all, going to that courthouse yesterday. I keep thinking of, I'm about to tell my age, but Dave Hollister when he's like, ooh, the courtroom. Remember was it Dave Hollister when he talks about going to court with his ex-wife in his song? Dave Hollister was one of my favorite singers. That's all I kept thinking. Y'all, I'm gonna say it before and I'll say it again. I said it last night. Y'all know that episode of Martin when they thought they had won the lottery and they came in on something that was moving. I don't know if it was a treadmill or but the fan was blowing them and they came in. I felt like that's how Eddie and Wendy came in yesterday. So the Carroll County Courthouse is very small, 2 levels. Child, you could do a lap in a minute. Okay, maybe a minute and 55 seconds. Okay. So I go in, I'm smiley, whatever, because me in a different part of town. Y'all know what I'm saying. And I go in, rainy day yesterday, go through security like that. And then, well, my Nikes, my Air Force Ones, the white ones, set off the alarm because I didn't realize, the little silver thing that I had on my watch, whatever. Go upstairs, wait. And when you go up to the second floor, it's like a big vestibule area, for lack of a better word, and it has like 2 courtrooms and you can sit down. So waiting. Then I met, shout out to Dr. Page. Make sure y'all go check out her YouTube channel, um, Paging Dr. Page. I just said it the other day. Shout out to Paige. I'm going to make sure I put all her information. She will be on the podcast as well. But Dr. Page is amazing. We met, it was just her and I for press, but we met. So we're talking, and she tells me, we're just talking about like cell phone policy, all that stuff. Y'all know I took a picture. Listen, okay. I'm going to get it right. Well, I'm not going to say that was wrong, but I'm gonna make sure I'm on the case next time because her and I are talking, and then all of a sudden we look up, and Wendy and Eddie are right there. They didn't have like Karen had an entourage, Ray, her cousin, her friend Cookie, Chuck, Cookie. Oops, Cookie Day is eating you. We're gonna talk about it on Potomac. Cookie was there, and I think somebody else maybe, but anyway, it was just Wendy and Eddie. And I had said to Paige, I said, um, I mean, not Lord, I said paging Dr. Page. It's Dr. Pam. Her YouTube is paging Dr. Pam. Where I got page from, I don't know. Sorry, Pam, but it's paging Dr. Pam. That's her YouTube page. So I had said I don't even know what made me say page, but so I had said to Pam, we were like, Pam was like, her mom's not here. I'm like, I know her mom's not here. Maybe her mom's with the kids. Pam said, the kids have school. I said, oh yeah. So right, but they were just out there. So I wasn't fast enough to take because I made like it was like when I looked over, she was coming in, so we saw her clearly. We saw each other. We seen each other, right? But it was like so quick. So her and Eddie are standing at the door. They didn't even go right in. They were kind of like waiting at the door. Their lawyer comes, whoop de whoop de whoop. They go in. We go in, and I said it. I know y'all heard me say it. I even tweeted. Wendy was flawless. And people like to use the word narcissist or narcissism. Sometimes I believe that's the case with people. I've heard people say that every housewife has a level of narcissism. I don't know if I necessarily believe they have a level of narcissism. Maybe they have some traits. You know how somebody can have a trait of something but doesn't fully meet the list. If somebody says these 10 things make you a narcissist, they may have two of the personality traits, right? But overall, they're a different type person. I say that to say they like the attention. Now, she definitely probably doesn't like this attention, them calling, being accused of fraud or being arrested and all that. On that same token, though, I'm thinking she thought because she was a housewife. And I mean, Carroll County did a press conference. It was all over. We saw Karen. There were so many press people at Karen's thing, local press, uh, so many people, right? The news, like all these outlets. And then with Wendy, it was none of that. It was just me and Pam. And when I tell y'all, I know the difference between doing your now, there are people that can do their own makeup flawless. I'm telling y'all, Wendy got her makeup done. Because it looked like it was photo makeup or like that kind of makeup. She looks stunning. There was a part of me that wondered what you're going to court for. You were accused of trying to fraud insurance companies for money, reporting items, clothing that were stolen, saying that you had a burglary. And allegedly, the prosecution is saying there was no burglary and that items of clothing that you had, high ticket items, you were trying to claim under, your insurance claim. And some of the stuff you had been returned, but yet you were trying to claim them. So the optics to me, and we're talking, even if it was somewhere like Montgomery County or somewhere big or DC, with this also being a small town courthouse, the optics to me of you being charged, what you're being charged for, and then showing up in a first stole. And I'm not saying she should have looked raggedy. No. With a first stole. And even if it was faux fur, they don't know that. The image of you in this fire pantsuit with a first stole on your shoulder, face beat. I was just kind of like, wow. And I think she did that thinking she was going to be photographed, thinking that there was going to be local news there. And there was not. There was not a peep. Now, maybe because it was just a status hearing, because remember, it was only supposed to be Wendy. Wendy's hearing was yesterday, her status hearing. Eddie's was supposed to be December 12th next week. But now that they have filed to be co-defendants again, both of them are going to be on the 19th, a status hearing. And that's where they're going to decide. Well, Wendy was trying this. I also do have this question. Remember, Wendy came out and said that it was an illegal arrest. That was going to be her defense on her case. So now that her and Eddie are co-defendants again, I wonder if that's going to be the same defense they use. There was a break in protocol or protocol wasn't followed. Like Louis, the one that unalived the Blue Cross Blue Shield person. You see, there was so many things that they're saying the law did wrong, didn't read him Miranda rights, illegally searched his backpack, and then didn't call for a warrant for 7 hours later, all this kinds of stuff, right? Stuff that can be proven. So I wonder with Wendy and Eddie, is that going to be the same? Are they now both going to say, yeah, this is what happened? And for it to be filed so late in the game, it was filed late Monday and it wasn't even on the judge's desk. So some people feel like, was it a financial thing? They're pulling from the same lawyers because, like I said, one of Wendy's lawyers and some of Eddie's lawyers had the same last name, Murtha. So clearly, it's the same. So some people were speculating, well, maybe it's the money, maybe it'd be cheaper for them to file together. I'm wondering if they're trying to stall precedent further and further. Like, is there really going to be a case on December 19th, or are they going to file for a continuance? I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about. I think that's the right term, but y'all know what I mean. I'm very curious to see. Then there's a part of me that's wondering, are they going to use this week to maybe try to strike a plea? Hey, your office didn't do this. when it came to the burglary, this, can we get a plea? Like house arrest or whatever. So there's a part of me that believes that could happen. And then there's a part of me that believes they might be in some real trouble, y'all. What y'all think? Because to do that so late in the game, you made it such a thing that we need to be separate and da 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 da. And now you're together again. So now their first date was November, what, 12th or November, something like that. Now we're heading into right before Christmas. Child. I don't know. Like I said, she was gorgeous. And for those of y'all that, some of y'all have heard this already, for those of y'all that haven't heard it. So we were sitting, there was a row in between us. It was them, a row in between us, and then us. And I just pay attention to the little things, body language, different things, what time it is, what they got on, what this person looked like, what this person said, what headband they had on. But there were times when Eddie was stroking her hand and she's looking straight ahead, very straight ahead. And he was looking at her as he's like rubbing her hand, patting her hand. And then when she got up, if this is her getting up to walk, like he leans up, he rubs her back, pats her. And then when I tell y'all, Karen said Wendy has a slither. I said, Karen just putting on. I seen the slither go up to the table. You know how I'm saying, how, like, all y'all ain't been in a courtroom. I have, I ain't gonna lie, a couple times. But when you walk up in the courtroom, and you have to go stand by the table by your lawyer, if you have one, and then the judge, of course, is up there. So then she put her hand in her pocket, like posing. So, oh, I don't have anything. Here's the stole on his shoulder, like this. And then she took her hand and had it in her pocket and I said, you know what? Wendy was Annalise Pope in an episode of All's Fair with Kim Kardashian and them. Y'all know who Annalise Pope is? Child, that's Annalise Keating and Olivia Pope together. She was dressed like she was Annalise Pope in an episode of, I'm being facetious when I say that, in an episode of All's Fair, which I just watched the 7th episode today. Because again, in my mind, I was like, I don't expect you to come raggedy, but just for, like, I don't know. And maybe some of y'all let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think she should have considered wardrobe? Like, yes, of course, you may be photographed, so you want to present your best, but at the same time, I think it's the first stole that's sending me a little bit, like, in light of what you're accused of. I did not see if she had the ring on, though, because that would be something. Because it seems like they have proof of that. They have him on a recorded call and they got to check the next day. Now, maybe they may say, yeah, and I went out and bought one right away. They may say that. I don't know. Child, we don't know. But she was up there. There was banter with the judge and the prosecution about a pen. So he goes, the judge says to the prosecutor, I heard that you took my pen, my sign-in sheet. She's like, Your Honor, I didn't take the pen, but I think but your sign-in sheet and your pen was on my desk this morning. Maybe it was my boss. And they had a kind of like a banter back and forth. That the judge seemed, based on energy, he seemed like, and I could be off, but I've been in front of judges where you could see ain't no type of banter. Like they're very, and then other judges who seem personable. And that's what he seemed. He seemed like a personable judge. And so they very much got to it. Her lawyer, Your Honor, we filed this, last night because there is a co-defendant, yada, yada, yada. The judge asked the prosecution how she feels about it. It's a lady. She said they agreed to it. They even picked the date together, December 19th, and they will be back then. So yeah, before Wendy went up, y'all, I kid you not. Again, some of y'all have heard this already, some of y'all haven't, but she kept looking over her shoulder. Where we were sitting in the courtroom, there's a set of benches over here, set of benches over here, and then the wall, and then the wall over there. So there was no reason for her to look this way because nobody would be coming up on the side, on the left side that we were sitting. So she constantly looking over her shoulder, and she made eye contact with Pam, and she smiled, but she was. So now, then the part of me, yeah, I should have took the picture because that's what she wanted. I got y'all on the 19th. Y'all, let me tell y'all. So I'm so unserious, but I was trying to be serious. There's a part of me that was like, because I went to school for broadcast journalism. And then my third year when I was pregnant with my daughter, I ended up doing like 3 years total. I did 2 years at Penn State, then came back and did a community college. I should have just went to another 4 year around my way, but neither here nor there. But anyway, I switched to liberal arts because I was like, well, I can get a quick degree. Still didn't finish, some credit shy, still didn't finish. But so in my mind, I felt like if I had a real reporter title, I wouldn't have no problem getting in there, getting the pics I need to take, doing what I need to do, getting the job done, because that's the job. Like that's my personality. Even if I felt embarrassment, this is my job. But there was a human part of me that was like, saw her as human, which I still see her as human. But I felt like, who am I to be taking pictures of her front facing? Three, you took a picture of the back of her head. So, I mean, she probably would have rather had the front facing one, right? Because that's what she got done up for. But there was a part of me that felt like, you're not really this. So who are you to be, right, taking the picture or whatever? So I didn't get it. And then when we walked out of the courthouse after their case, because their case was called along with other cases, there was other cases before them. Y'all, there was an unaliving case. The inmate came in shackles. I said, "What?" Me and Pam looked at each other like, "Girl." And then the victim's family was there, and it was to set. I think Pam will correct me because Pam's going to be on. She's going to come on after the case on the 19th. Uh, I believe they were trying to set a hearing for a sentencing, like to set a date for sentencing. And just looking at the family, well, it was a man and a woman. I don't know if they were husband and wife or what have you. And I don't know who the party, the deceased was to them. But the person on trial was just like, had his head down the whole time. And I'm like, it just, I can't imagine having to face the person that took your loved one in court and be calm. But what I did notice, the bailiff, he was very nice. I noticed that with the other cases, he stood in the back. But when the person that has been convicted and now has to have sentencing of unaliving, when he came out, the bailiff went and stood. He walked up the aisle and stood next to the family's bench, and stayed there during the whole time. And then uh when they walked out, he was like behind them. And so I wonder if that's to prevent in case someone may want to attack somebody. I don't know, but there was that. So I said, oh my God, today. So when they walked out, we walked out behind them. But we're right there with them, right? There was only one floor. There was only two floors in the building. So I was not going to act like I was waiting by the elevator. I mean, the steps was right here. So I was telling Pam, I'm gonna take the steps. She was like, yeah, we gonna take the steps. Like, but could have got a picture of them with them, but they were talking to their lawyer. We get downstairs, me and Pam were talking. Then we're kind of like waiting around, and Pam's like, are we like stalkers? I was like, yeah, I guess. So then we go outside and it was rainy, give each other a hug, make sure we have each other's phone. We take a selfie, make sure we have each other's phone numbers, what have you, what have you. She goes her way, I go mine. She was parked in front of the courthouse. I was parked behind it because there were empty spots. Y'all, this courthouse is so small. There were empty spots, but I didn't know how long it was going to be. And I didn't want to have to chance feeding the meter. And then I'm thinking, long or gone are the days of you having to run outside to feed a meter. That just tells you my age. You could do it right from your phone, extend the time. But I wasn't thinking. So I had parked in a parking lot behind the court. So I'm walking, get into my car, get situated, pull out. As I'm pulling out, I don't go the way I'm supposed to go. I pull up to like the front of the courthouse and look, and I see a black SUV, but a man standing outside with an umbrella. I said, they like them black SUVs. That's who picked them up from the jail. Remember, we seen that little video of them dropping them off after they got out of jail the next morning. I said, oh, got him. So I make a left down the road, y'all. And I bust a U-turn. Listen, U-turns are legal to me. If there's enough room and ain't nobody coming, why I can't do one. So I did a U-turn and pulled up, not right behind, but enough behind the SUV. Child, why that man? The screen is me. Girl, I should have just stood in it, right? I should have just stood in it. But I pull up behind the SUV. but not close. Car length apart. Child, that man had that umbrella and turned around. He looked at me. I looked at him. We looked at each other. Here I go. My phone was up in my mount. And I even made sure I had swiped to the picture part to make sure it was clear and all that, right? So I'm like, we just gonna be looking. Instead of me playing on my phone from here, I take it out and do this. Got so engrossed on what I was looking at. Child, by the time I looked up again, Wendy was already in the vehicle and Eddie was like kind of hopping like off the curb in because it was raining and into the truck. I said, ain't this about them? Could have had them, but I'm playing so unserious. But it was funny because after that, they literally were behind me for like 15, 20 minutes because we had to go in the same direction. I said, let them have to pull off into the 7-Eleven. I would have went and got me something. No, I'm saying that I probably would not have. I would have kept on going because I wasn't doing all that. But yeah, so back in court on the 19th. I really am curious what the play is with this. And if it's even gonna make it to the 19th, if it's gonna get kicked back until the first of the year. So we'll see. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all saw Wendy's outfit. What y'all think? Do y'all think Wendy should have came a little more humble, a little more subdued, or should she had been like, because she knew she might be photographed? I said with Karen, you could look at Karen and see that her suit probably cost money, right? She had the bob going on, the 613 long bob, but it wasn't flashy. She just looked like she just gave wealthy Montgomery County woman to me. That's what she gave. Where Wendy gave what she gives us on TV. And again, if you weren't on trial for that, things is one thing. But the fact that this is, what you're being accused of, I just felt like, oh, but y'all let me know what y'all think. So let's get into some other topics. Whew, child. Kandi, Kandi, Kandi. Y'all, I did not. I really wanted to believe that when Todd got with Kandi, he was operating from a place of love, that he loved her. And I do think I'm not saying he doesn't now, but I'm saying I do believe that there was love there at a point, right? Then the more you look at things, it's like, was it truly, like not even being funny with the saying, but was it truly a scheme that Todd set up? So let's get into it. So we know that we did a video the other day, December 1st, Todd filed for what primary custody, want the prenup looked at again, all of that stuff. Kandi has since come out. So this is according to Us Weekly. Kandi Burruss is using Bravo footage as evidence in divorce as she fights ex Todd Tucker over prenup. Us Weekly exclusive. The Real Housewives of Atlanta alum Kandi Burruss is using Bravo footage as evidence to fight her estranged husband Todd Tucker's claims about their prenuptial agreement. Us Weekly can exclusively report. Burruss filed an amended divorce petition on Monday, December 1st, addressing Tucker's allegations that he was asked to sign their 2014 prenuptial agreement without his lawyer present. She said he was represented by a high-powered attorney before the marriage and disputed his claim that the prenup was not enforceable due to lack of representation. The parties' journeys to executing an enforceable prenuptial agreement was filmed and broadcast on Bravo Television Network with the knowledge and consent of both Burruss and Tucker for their 5-part reality television wedding documentary entitled Kandi's Wedding. I didn't realize it was 5 parts. That premiered on June 1st, 2014. Burruss's lawyer noted in the filing obtained by Us. Her lawyer also noted that in the documentary, Tucker audibly announced that he was good to sign the prenuptial agreement during a private encounter with Burruss and after talking to his lawyer on and off camera. As Us first reported, Tucker alleged in court that he was given the prenuptial agreement before the April 2014 wedding, but his lawyer was not present when he was given the final draft. Oh, or was anything changed? Despite that knowledge, Burruss's counsel presented the final agreement to Tucker for signature immediately before the wedding ceremony, without any notice to or consultation with Tucker's team, who had been significantly engaged in the negotiation process. That's what Tucker's filing read. And we know he asked for sole primary custody, also asked for alimony if the court ruled the prenup not enforceable. I wonder if he's going to say he deserves alimony because he gave up some of his job's opportunity for Kandi. And I wonder if he's going to use the footage of Kandi saying that she didn't want him all over. She wanted him there with her. So he gave up one of his producing jobs, like with traveling and stuff. Was it whatever company he was working for? He gave that up, but Kandi said it. So I wonder if he's going to use that footage. Like, are they both going to be using footage from Bravo? I was hoping this didn't get nasty. Child. Well, child, you can always have hope, but it don't always work out. Let's get to People Magazine. This is today an exclusive. Kandi Burruss discovered Todd Tucker was talking to other women behind her back before split. She had no idea. New allegations are emerging about Kandi Burruss' shocking split from Todd Tucker. Kandi and Todd had been having marriage troubles for a while now. Kandi was not happy because she found out that Todd had been talking to other women behind her back. A source tells People exclusively she had no idea. A rep for Burruss has not commented, and Tucker has not responded to requests from People. Now, remember on her Amazon Live, she said, right now it's a pretty crazy time. She also answered a fan's question about how she's been feeling and candidly shared, I'm going to be very honest with you. I am up and down. Obviously, going through a divorce is definitely not the easiest thing. Sometimes you're cool, then sometimes you have your moments of sadness. I'm all over the place, she said, later adding, sometimes things just don't work out. It just is what it is. Oh boy, I just, people say who you marry is not who you divorce. And sometimes I think that's true. And sometimes I think it's exactly who it is. They were just hiding that part from you. It was there, but it just, I like, again, my hope is that the focus will remain the children and what's best for the children, and not what's best for one wanting alimony and money and all this other stuff. Like, what's best for the kids. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Remember that Facebook post going around showing Todd standing next to a pregnant woman? But with the Facebook posts, they're sketchy to me because there is a Facebook account that continuously posts fake stuff. And it's like, how are they allowed to do that? But I don't know. So, ciao. I guess we shall see. Child, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough. Ain't that what Mama Joy said to keep me off your baby? Moving on, let's get into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Robert Jr. Remember, Robert Jr. was arrested before BravoCon. So he was in jail when Mary was at BravoCon. And at the time I looked it up, I couldn't tell. It looked like he was still in jail. Well, this is according to People. RHO, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Mary Cosby's son, Robert, pleads guilty to assault and trespassing, will remain in jail until February. Robert Jr. pleaded guilty to 8 charges, including violation of a protective order. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Mary Cosby's son, Robert Cosby Jr., has pleaded guilty to assault, violating a protective order, and other charges 1 day after his wife, Alexiana Ariane Smokoff, filed for divorce. Robert entered his plea in a Salt Lake City County District Court on Tuesday, November 25th, following multiple incidents spanning from September to November involving his wife and father-in-law, Shad Stoke, according to court documents viewed by People. Facing 14 charges, Mary's son pled guilty to 8 charges in total. 1 count of felony property damage or destruction greater than or equal to $5,000. 2 counts of violation of a pretrial protective order obtained by Alexiana, in addition to 1 count of assault on a peace officer, 1 count of violation of a jail release court order, 2 counts of criminal trespass on a dwelling with intent to cause annoyance, injury, or fear, which are all Class A misdemeanors, and 1 count of Class B misdemeanor assault. 6 misdemeanor charges were dismissed with prejudice. Alexiana filed for divorce in Salt Lake City County District Court on Monday, November 24th. The petition for divorce requires that both parties do not harass, intimidate, or disturb the peace of the other party by any means, including electronically. The documents reviewed by People continue to list prohibited prohibited actions on behalf of either party, commit domestic violence or abuse against the other party or a child, use the other party's name, likeness, image, or identification to get credit, open an account for service, or obtain a service, cancel or interfere with telephone, utility, or other services used by the other party, cancel, modify, terminate, or change the beneficiary. In an exclusive statement, Robert's lawyer, Clayton Sims, tells people understanding and recognizing the relationship was difficult for Robert based on his religion and background. To him, marriage is sacred and forever. Sims adds, his parents were his example and they've been married for 27 years. Robert was slow to recognize and accept his marriage was over and continued to connect with his soon to be ex wife. Robert has accepted responsibility for his mistakes and has pleaded guilty to several misdemeanors. You know, this may end up being a good thing because hopefully he'll be clean from now till February. I really hope that he finds purpose in his life and what he's here for, and that life doesn't feel like unseasoned chicken, because I think that's one of the worst things, to feel unfulfilled and maybe not know what to do about it. I felt that way before, like unfulfilled in certain areas of my life, like my career. What you thought you would be doing, you're no longer doing. And then when that space frees up for you to pursue it, you don't know what to do when your kids get older, right? And you have more freedom. You're like, what am I here for? What am I supposed to do? Some people feel like they've been called to be just a mom, be just a wife. I feel like I've been called to do other things outside of that. Like I can do that and also do things outside of that. I had somebody tell me before their dream was to always be a wife and a mom. And I thought that was beautiful for them. But I said, don't put that expectation on every other woman, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we all have different things that have us feeling fulfilled. And I just hope for his, because he can be off of the drugs and be clean for however many amount of months. But if that feeling that's driving him to do the drugs doesn't go away, then what? Right? So I really do wish the best for Robert Jr., child, for the wife. Like, stay away from each other. Don't look in each other's direction. And I hope that he gets the help and the fulfillment that he needs. And I pray for Mary's strength. It's even if you know your son, this is where he belongs because of what he did. It's still not easy. It's still got to be hard to see your child like that when you when you have tried everything, right? To be there, to be an open book, to let them know I'm here for you. What is it that you need? So prayers of strength for Mary. And I'm going to say Robert Sr. too, because who knows, whatever. But anyway, y'all, those are the things that we're talking about in this video. Robert Jr., Kandi and Todd, and Wendy and Eddie, aka Pam and Eddie Hennessy. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I will be back with my Potomac reunion because I got some things to say. Matter of fact, let me get a glass of Moscato so we can get into it. Love y'all. Again, thank y'all to all you subscribe, all of our community that we're building and continuing to build. Love y'all. Talk to you later. See ya. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not.